A lone Mustang stood its ground as a pack of hungry wolves inched closer. Weakened with age and unable to flee, the old stallion prepared for its final stand. But just when all seemed lost, a man risked everything to step in. What happened next left even the most seasoned ranchers in disbelief. This is the remarkable tale of a wild stallion that refused to surrender, and the man whose life was forever changed by their encounter. The air was crisp and biting as Ethan Carter rode through the rugged Wyoming wilderness. The late afternoon sun stretched long shadows across the snow-covered ground, turning the sky into a masterpiece of gold and crimson. But Ethan had no time to admire the scenery. He was following a trail. His target, a lone Mustang. But this wasn't just any wild horse. It was an aging stallion, seen limping near the river bend. Wild horses never stray from their herd unless something is terribly wrong. Injury, illness, or age catching up to them. Whatever the reason, Ethan knew one thing. The Mustang wouldn't last long out here alone. And with wolves lurking in these forests, the moment one found the other, it would be over. Ethan had always respected Mustangs. Built to endure, they were symbols of survival, thriving in the harshest conditions. He'd spent his life around horses, yet there was something about the spirit of a wild Mustang that always captivated him. However, this wasn't a rescue mission, at least not yet. He only wanted to track the horse, assess the situation, and determine if it still had a fighting chance. If the stallion could run, there was hope. If not... He sighed, adjusting his grip on the reins as his horse weaved through the trees. Patches of snow had already begun to settle on the ground. Ethan pressed forward, navigating the rocky path with urgency. Then he spotted them. Fresh tracks. Imprinted in the snow. The hoof prints were uneven, one side dragging slightly. The Mustang was hurt, but something else made his stomach twist. Large paw prints following closely behind. Wolves. Without hesitation, he urged his horse forward, snow flying up as they raced toward the tracks. He had to move fast. The growls grew louder, the sound of movement rustling through the underbrush. Then, a sound sent a chill down his spine. A desperate, panicked whinny. Ethan burst through the trees and into a clearing. There stood the Mustang, its back pressed against a towering rock face. Its coat, once strong and vibrant, had faded into a dusty grey. Powerful muscles, now worn with age, tensed in preparation for a fight. A deep gash ran down its chest, evidence of its struggle. Blood dripped from its wounded leg, staining the snow beneath it. Yet despite its pain, the stallion wasn't ready to give up. 4 wolves had it surrounded. Their bodies crouched low, eyes locked on their prey. They were simply waiting for exhaustion to take over, for the stallion to collapse. But Ethan wasn't about to let that happen. Boom! A gunshot shattered the silence echoing through the valley. The wolves froze. A few snarled, shifting uneasily, reluctant to leave their target. But they weren't gone yet. Ethan didn't waste a second. Swinging down from his horse, he braced himself, because the fight wasn't over. Ethan's boots hit the snow as he dismounted, his rifle steady in his hands. The wolves hesitated, their eyes darting between the Mustang and the man who had just arrived. For a moment it seemed they might retreat, but hunger is a powerful force. One of the wolves, a large black-furred brute, snarled and took a step forward. The Mustang lashed out with a weakened but determined kick, forcing the wolves to reconsider. But Ethan knew it was only a matter of time before they struck again. He took a step forward, raising his rifle. Boom! Another shot rang out, this time striking a tree just inches from one of the wolves. That was enough. With low growls, the pack finally turned and slinked back into the trees, disappearing into the shadows. Ethan let out a slow breath, his heartbeat finally settling. But there was no time to relax. The Mustang still stood, nostrils flaring, sides heaving with exhaustion. It eyed Ethan warily, ears flicking back in warning. "Easy, boy," Ethan murmured, keeping his voice low and steady. He'd seen that look before. Wild, desperate, ready to fight or flee at any moment. He moved slowly, careful not to spook the stallion. The Mustang's legs trembled beneath its weight, blood still dripping from the deep wound along its chest. Ethan had seen enough injured horses in his life to know this one wouldn't make it far on its own. He reached into his saddlebag, pulling out a length of rope.
The stallion snorted and took a half-step back, but there was no strength left in him to run. Ethan knew he had a choice: leave the Mustang to fate or try to save him. And in that moment, there was no real choice at all. Carefully, he looped the rope over the stallion's neck, speaking in quiet tones. "Come on, big guy. Let's get you out of here." The stallion tensed but didn't fight. It took a shaky step forward, then another. Slowly, cautiously, Ethan led him toward his own horse. He knew the journey back to the ranch wouldn't be easy. The Mustang was weak, the wound needed tending, and wolves could still be watching. But as Ethan guided the stallion through the snow-covered valley, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just another horse. This Mustang had survived against all odds. He had fought to the very end. And now, maybe, just maybe, he had found something worth fighting for.